Good morning, dear children. Man is the maker of his own destiny. God will help those who help themselves. Fate aids the courageous. So, these are some of the proverbs, quotes, or sayings which we usually come across in our day to day life. These proverbs or the sayings are related to fate and destiny, and it also tells us about man's capability of creating his own destiny. So, students, in today's class, we will read one such story which is related to destiny. Yes, and the name of the story is An Astrologer's Day, written by R.K. Narayan. So, before moving forward, let us read a brief background about the writer R.K. Narayan. I hope each and every one of us have already familiar with the name R.K. Narayan. Yes, because in each and every classes we have at least one story written by R.K. Narayan in our textbooks. Yes, so R.K. Narayan, Rasipuram Krishnaswamy Iyer Narayana Swamy, commonly known as R.K. Narayan, was born on 10th October 1906 in Madras, and he died on 13th May 2001 in Chennai. So in his long career, he published 14 novels, over 200 short stories, a memoir, 2 travel books, innumerable essays, and 2 plays. His first novel was Swami and Friends, which he wrote it in 1935. His last published work was Grandmother's Tale. Malgudi Days. I think there is not even a single child who has not heard about the book Malgudi Days. Yes, so Malgudi Days is one of the famous books written by R.K. Narayan. Malgudi Days is a collection of stories published in 1943, and this book includes 32 stories. And all these stories are set in the fictional town of Malgudi. Students, in 1986, a few of the stories in this book are made into television series in the name The Malgudi Days, and that series was directed by Shankar Nag, which was very famous at that period even till now. Yes, and some of the famous stories in this collections are The Missing Mail, The Doctor's Word, Gateman's Gift, The Blind Dog, Father's Help, The Snake Song, and Astrologer's Day, etc. So today in this class we will read the story An Astrologer's Day, written by R.K. Narayan. An Astrologer's Day. So let us read the story and enjoy what it is talking about. So the story starts like this, where the astrologer is carrying some of his equipments in his bag. Punctually at midday, he opened his bag and spread out his professional equipment. So what articles did the astrologer carry? So exactly in the afternoon, he opened his bag and he spread out the professional equipments. Which profession he was following? Yes, astrology. So in his bag, there were dozen of cowrie shells. What do you mean by cowrie shell? Yes, correct. Cowrie shells are nothing but seashells. And a square piece of cloth with obscure mystic charts. You might have seen some of these kind of clothes when you are reading some other stories as well as watching some television series. Yes, obscure means which is very difficult to understand. So he carried a piece of cloth which has obscure mystic charts on it. Then a notebook and a bundle of Palmyra writing. A Palmyra writing is nothing but which we call in Kannada Talegari. Yes, so he carried cowrie shells, a square piece of cloth which has obscure mystic charts, and a notebook and Palmyra writing. So this is what he carried. But how does he look like? What is his appearance? The astrologer's appearance is like this. His forehead was resplendent with sacred ash and vermilion. So on his forehead it was always bright. Resplendent means dazzling. Dazzling with sacred ash and vermilion. Vermilion is nothing but kumkuma. And his eyes sparkled with a sharp, abnormal gleam. So, is he really having some special qualities? That's why his eyes were sparkling? No, his eyes were gleaming, which was because continual searching for customers. He was so much into searching his customers, that's why his eyes were always gleaming. But which his simple clients took to be prophetic light and felt comforted. So the customers or the people who were standing before him as his clients saw that gleam in his eyes as a special power in him, though it is nothing but the search for his clients. The power of his eyes was considerably enhanced by their position. It's not only gleaming just for looking for his clients, but also for the appearance on his face. That is, he has put sacred ash and vermilion on his forehead, and he has beard on his cheeks, placed as they were between the painted forehead and the dark whiskers which streamed down his cheeks. He has a very big moustache as well as his forehead which was painted with sacred ash and vermilion. His eyes were looking more bright as well as prophetic to his customers. To crown the effect, he wound a saffron-colored turban round his head. So to crown the effect is nothing but like a cherry on the top. Yes, to heighten the effect of his appearance, he would always wear a saffron-colored cloth as a turban on his head. This color scheme never failed. So this color scheme, so we usually tend to judge people on their appearance, right? If a person who is wearing jeans, pants appears in front of you and tell you that he is an astrologer, we would not believe him because we always judge people according to their appearance. So here this color scheme never failed, has a very deeper meaning itself. Yes, and then people were attracted to him as bees are attracted to cosmos. So all the people were so much rushed into him like bees are attracted to cosmos. Cosmos is a flower which we usually see in our uh, field during rainy season. We call it in our regional language as Ketakihu and Dahlia stacks. Dahlia stacks is also which we grow during rainy season, that is nothing but Derehu. Yes, so people were attracted to him like bees were attracted to cosmos and dahlia stacks. So till now we have seen that uh, his looks like and what are the things he carried in his bag. So now let us see where did the astrologer sit. He sat under the boughs of a spreading tamarind tree, which flanked a path running through the town hall park. So he used to sit under a tamarind tree, which was just beside. Flanked means nothing but edge. So beside a path, and the path was running through the town hall park. So it was a very busy road because it was leading to a town hall. It was a remarkable place in many ways. So it was very famous. The road was very busy because a surging crowd was always moving up. Surging is nothing but rushing, or which is always busy crowd was always moving up and down this narrow road morning till night. So he used to sit under a tamarind tree, and the tamarind tree was just beside the busiest road of the town or the village. So a variety of trades and occupations was represented all along its way. You can imagine the busiest road. On the sides of the road, it is always filled with some shops, some occupations, or some business or trade. There were medicine sellers, sellers of stolen hardware and junk. Yes, are you imagining? And there were magicians, and above all, there was an auctioneer of cheap cloth who created enough din all day to attract the whole town. So we can imagine that busiest road on which on the both sides of the road it was full of some or other small shops which were always attracted by people. Yes. So till now we have seen that the astrologer used to sit under a tamarind tree which is just beside the busiest road. Yes, then whose shop do we have next to astrologer's place? So there was a nut vendor. Next to him in vociferousness came a vendor of fried groundnut. Vociferousness is nothing but being loud and noisy. So there was a nut vendor who gave his ware a fancy name each day. See, his specialty was he used to call his business in a different name every day. One day he would call Bombay ice cream, and the next Delhi almond, and on the third Raja's delicacy, and so on and so forth. Yes, he changed the name of his business every now and then. But though he has changed his name several times, people flocked to him. Flocked is nothing but people gathered in a very huge number in front of the nut vendor's ware. A considerable portion of this crowd dallied before the astrologer too. So you can imagine there were a huge crowd in front of the nut vendor's shop, as well as the same portion of the customer or the crowd dallied. They wasted their time hanging around before the astrologer too. Are you imagining the busiest road and the tamarind tree beside the busiest road? There was sitting the astrologer spreading out his equipments like cowrie shells, a piece of cloth, his notebook, as well as tamarind writing. Yes, are you imagining? Yes. So what happens next? Let's find out. So till now we have seen that his preparation related to his occupation. But how did the astrologer carried out his business? Yes, let's see. The astrologer transacted his business by the light of a flame which crackled and smoked up above the groundnut heap nearby. So we have seen that there was a fried groundnut shop beside astrologer's place. Yes, and he lighted up a fire to fry his or roast the groundnut. So flare is nothing but blaze of light. Okay. So astrologer took the help of that flare or the fire, and half the enchantment of the place was due to the fact that it did not have the benefit of municipal lighting. So there was no such facility from the municipal as a street light or any other lights. So the half of the enchantment, uh, we can imagine that it was completely not dark, but there is a play of light and dark in the place under the tamarind tree. The enchantment is nothing but the magical effect was due to the lack of light. The place was lit up by shop lights. So some of the shops beside the road has their own lights. One or two had hissing gas lights. Uh, are you or whether you have seen gas lights? Nowadays it is very rare, but at least you will find it in storerooms because nowadays it is not used as much as it was used before. Gas lights. Yes, some shops had their hissing gas lights, and some had naked flares stuck on poles. So you might have seen this. Poles had this fire burning above it. Yes, and some shops were lit up by old cycle lamps. So dynamo is used to lit up cycle lamps. Yes, and one or two, like the astrologers, managed without lights on their own. So some shops has their gas lights, some shops have poles lighting up with fire, and some have cycle lamps, and some shops like astrologer and others, they carried out their business without any light. It was a bewildering crisscross of light rays and moving shadows because there was lack of light and other shops have their own smaller variety of lights. It was always a crisscross. There was a play of light and dark which created a kind of confusion as well as magical effect. So the thing is, all these play of light and dark, it suited the astrologer very well. How and why? Because the simple reason that it had not in the least intended to be an astrologer when he began his life. So the astrologer was not planning to become an astrologer, yet he became an astrologer. Yes, such an irony it is. So throughout this story, we will see such ironic elements. Like the astrologer was not wanted to become an astrologer, yet he became an astrologer. And sometimes uh, he pretended to have some supernatural power, and sometimes this prediction turned out true. So we will see such ironic elements in the story. So he knew no more of what was going to happen to others than he knew what was going to happen to himself next minute. So this is also an irony because he himself is not aware of his future, yet he is telling others' future. Yes, so he was as much as a stranger to the stars as were his innocent customers. That means he has not studied astrology. He is just carrying this business for his sake of money or for daily requirements. Yes, so he is very stranger to stars. Here stars are nothing but astrology field. So as his customers were not aware of stars, he is also not aware of stars, yet he is telling future. Yet he said things which pleased and astonished everyone. So he predicted some future and it turned out true, which astonished and pleased his customers. That was more a matter of study, practice, and shrewd guesswork. How did he do that? How did he predicted the future right, which pleased his customers? Because it is a matter of study. He had studied his customers very well and of practice. Uh, he has been doing this job for a quite while now. That's why he has the practice and shrewd guesswork. Shrewd is nothing but good at judging or clever. He is very clever in his occupation. That means he is very good at judging people's situations. Because of all these reasons, his predictions turned out to be true. All the same, it was as much an honest man's labor as any other. So, like other people do their job, he also doing his job or the occupation of telling future. And he deserved the wages he carried home at the end of the day. So there is until and unless the people are believing him, he is doing his job of telling the future. So whatever he has earned is he is deserving for that wage which he carried home at the end of the day. So we have seen that he was sitting under a tamarind tree and doing his occupation of telling future. Did he do all these things in his own village? No. He had left his village without any previous thought or plan. That means he is not doing his occupation in his own village. He is doing it in some other place. If he had continued there, if he had stayed in his own village, he would have carried on the work of his forefathers. Look at this line. That means he is not having any background of astrology. It is all new for him. If he would have stayed in his own village, he would have carried out his forefathers' occupation. What is that? Tilling the land, living, marrying, and ripening in his cornfield and ancestral home. So these lines indicates that he is not in his own village. He is not staying in his ancestral home. He is somewhere else. He had left his home or the village very early. But that was not to be. So he is not doing all those ancestral occupations. He had to leave home without telling anyone. So this line is somewhere giving us the hint that something is wrong in his past. He had to leave his home without telling anyone. So a day or at night he had left his home without telling to anyone, and he could not rest till he left it behind a couple of 100 miles. So he's very far from his own village. maybe a couple of 100 miles. To a villager, it is a great deal. Yes, as if an ocean flowed between. So for a person who is belongs to a village or who is having his own family, it is very difficult for a person to stay away from his family or the home. It feels like they are just 7 seas away or far from their home. Yes, so he had to leave. So what do you think? Why did he leave the village? So the question remains unsolved. Let's find out why he had to leave his own village. But we have seen that whatever he is doing far from his village, he is doing quite well in his occupation. So how efficient was the astrologer in his business? He had a working analysis of mankind's troubles. So we have already discussed that he is very good at guessing people's troubles, shrewd guesswork, as well as he has well practiced as well as very good working analysis of mankind's troubles, which may be related to marriage, money, and the tangles. Tangles are nothing but the difficulties of people. Long practice had sharpened his perception. So he is following this occupation for a quite while now. That's why he is very good at perceiving or identifying people's problems. Within 5 minutes, he understood what was wrong. So he is very good at guessing. Yes, he charged 3 paise per question. So how much he used to charge for his customers? That is 3 paise per question. Never opened his mouth till the other had spoken for at least 10 minutes. Look at his cleverness. He never spoke until the customer had spoken for at least 10 minutes. We can easily say that if a customer or a client, if he talks for 10 minutes, he would probably tell everything about himself, his background, his difficulties, his problems, everything. So, which provided the astrologer enough information for a dozen answers and advices. So, it gave gave enough material for the astrologer to tell the answer for the problems which the customers put forward. So how did the astrologer foretell the customer's future? So when he told the person before him, gazing at his palm, in many ways you are not getting the results for your efforts. 9 out of 10 were disposed to agree with him. See, the astrologer is also well aware of humans' behavior or humans' psychology. He would say, in many ways, you are not getting the result for your efforts. Usually, if you tell these sentences to anyone, they would probably agree with you because it is a very usual statement which each and every person can relate. Or the astrologer questioned, is there any woman in your family, maybe even a distant relative, who is not well disposed? See, the word disposed is used twice, but in this context, a woman who is not having a very specified attitude towards you would be the meaning. Or the astrologer gave an analysis of customer's character by saying most of your troubles are due to your nature and a rough exterior. So these analysis, question, statement is common to everyone. Each and every person can relate this kind of situation. So it is a usual prediction. But this pleased as well as gave the satisfaction to the customer. That is why they ended him to their hearts immediately. For even the mildest of us loves to think that he has a forbidding exterior, because his questions, statements were somewhat related to each and every customer. They would think that he has the ability to foresee the future. He can tell the future. He can have, or he has, the forbidding exterior. So far we have seen that how the astrologer used to carry out his business. So after running his business, at what time did the astrologer bundle up to go home? So what was the signal for astrologer to bundle up? The nuts vendor blew out his flare and rose to go home. This was a signal for the astrologer to bundle up too. So as soon as the nuts vendor closes his business, he blew out the fire. That means the astrologer used the same light source to run his business. That means as soon as the nuts vendor blew out the fire, it's time for the astrologer to bundle up too, since it left him in darkness except for a little shaft of green light. Yes, so he just closed his business as well as soon as the nut vendor closed his shop. He picked up his cowrie shells and paraphernalia and was putting them back into his bag. So after closing it, he picked up all his belongings. Paraphernalia is nothing but his belongings. That is nothing but cowrie shells, a notebook, a cloth which has obscure mystic charts, as well as Palmyra writing. So he picked up all his belongings and put them back into his bag. So when he started putting all his belongings into his bag, he saw a man who was standing before him. So it was usually the time to close his business. But when he started to bundle up everything and ready to leave home, he saw a man who was standing before him. He looked up and saw a man standing before him. Who is that man? Yes, he is a customer. But why is he standing in front of the astrologer at the time to close? Yes, and what is his problem? What are the difficulties he has going through? So we will see the rest of the stories in the next class. So far, children, we have seen that the astrologers carried some of the articles for his business and the appearance of the astrologer, and what are the tactics the astrologers used to run his business, and the way of perceiving customers' problems by the astrologer, and the way of handling his customers. So what happens in the story? So who is the man standing before the astrologer? Why did the astrologer leave his village, which remained unsolved till now? Yes. And what happens next in the story? We will look into all these questions in the next period. So children, read the story till here and try to comprehend the story as you read it.